I have people all the time where we set them up on a search, and I just had a lady, she's like, well, I need at least 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And I said, okay. She's like, 2 full bathrooms. So I said, okay, I just want to make sure I hear you correctly. You don't want me to send you anything that's 1.5 baths, because that always happens, right? We set them up 2, they get on Zillow, they say, what about 123 Main Street? And then you think to yourself, what the heck? Like, how come I didn't send it to them? You pull it up, well, because it's got 1.5 bathrooms. So I say, are you 100% sure? I don't want you to miss out on anything, because it could be a half bath that's big enough to convert to a full bath. And just kind of asking those questions. Then people are like, oh, you know what? 1.5 is fine. Because we want to be the expert. I don't want people to find the home of their dreams on Zillow when they were on a search with me. I want to be able to I want to be the person that they get their information from. So just asking those questions. Same thing. I just had a guy, he's like, I only want to look at stuff that's, 5 acres or more. And it makes me nervous. I said, well, what if it's like 4.2 and it's huge, so just kind of asking those questions. And, especially now, it's not like they're going to get 20 emails a day from us, right? There's no inventory. So, we don't want to miss out on any opportunity. So just asking those questions, I think goes a long way. So we can put our seller leads into 3 categories. People that are able, ready, and willing to buy in the next 2 weeks. People that are, willing and able, that are looking to do business in, 2 weeks to 60 days to 2 months. And then people in category C that are looking 60 days or longer. It's important to put them in categories so that we can follow up with them correctly. We can decide if we're gonna, for some examples, if we're gonna put them on a smart plan in Command, if we're gonna create a neighborhood landing page for a lead. So it's just important to establish if they are in A, B, or C. Sellers that are currently ready, we would take more time and effort, obviously, but it's also important to follow up to the B and C. I think nothing hurts more than when we really feel like we have a B, and then they want to wait 2 weeks to a month, and then you get on the MLS and they list it, and then you didn't follow up with them. So just getting them on some kind of a routine where you do follow up with them and just say, hey, I know you said 60 days. We're about halfway there. Are you still feeling like you're ready to list, 1st of May? And just having those questions. And it's funny because sometimes people do sound annoyed. I think I kind of sound bitchy and annoyed on the phone, but I don't mind the call. I think sometimes our tone is off, and I tend to read into it. But I have people all the time say, I listed with you, Tabitha, because you called me, you followed up, you seemed the most hungry. So people don't mind it. And, I think texting is obviously great. So
let me just share one thing. I was actually looking to buy about a couple months ago when I was working with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I sent her an email. She still has not emailed me back, guys. It's been a month and a half. So let me just say, if she does now, that'll immediately go in my trash bin. And she will forever not be even considered. That's just coming from me. If I want a response within at least a couple of days.
I agree. And response time is huge, right? Because there's so many agents. So sometimes people want a response within 5 minutes to an hour. If you wait till tonight, it's too late. If they were really interested in purchasing or selling, they have moved on, whether you were the number 1 person they wanted to use or not. Sometimes when people have decided they're moving or decided they're buying, they are doing it.
I was going through some of my leads from my other brokerage, and I saw some emails where they were like, thank you for such a quick response, or moving so quickly. So I have lost really great leads because of the fact that I haven't followed up. So following up is so important.
It is. It's the secret sauce, calling people back. It really, really is. Okay. So we are going to role play, I guess, a little bit. We're going to talk to each other and ask qualifying seller questions. I think. Hang on. So we're gonna have everybody get into groups of 2 or 3, and they are going to try to qualify a seller lead and ask them the who, what, why questions and practice doing that.
Don't sign off. Y'all just
Don't
asking the
click off.
question. All right, hang in there. Don't be scared.
Chris said that when you announce these activities, people disappear, and that's sad.
Yeah.
I get it. It's so uncomfortable, right? But the more we do it, the more it feels comfortable. So
Yep. And the best part is you're actually working with somebody. Well, you should be. Y'all need to be encouraging and helping one another out through these questions. So the best part is to screw up now before you're going and talking to a potential client. So I'll be breaking y'all out in a few minutes or a few seconds. So.
all right, yeah. So just ask each other questions to determine motivation. And then after we get back here in about 5 minutes, we'll just kind of talk about any ahas that you learned during the exercise. And we can just kind of go from there. So are you breaking everybody into groups?
Yeah, I'm doing that in just a second. Trying to make sure we got everybody in a room. Nobody's going solo. All right. I mean, somebody can go solo and talk to themselves. No, just kidding.
I do that on the regular.
How's Panera? I'm so jealous. She's gone.
Yeah, they're all joining their rooms. You're doing great. Get a couple people just about to
I'm
jump
going to read
in.
the next couple of slides, I think.
You're doing really well.
Thank you.
You're dropping a lot of great information.
Try to add my own.
Yep.
I know it's off topic. I know but I think people like that. I think people like to know what other people know.
Right. And I think, everybody has their own unique personality, right? I mean, some can relate to others more because it's similar. In fact, because Maya was listening too, and one of the things we said, it's your personality and what makes you, Tabitha, can be infectious to somebody else because your style is going to be, somewhat similar. People can pick up on that. And I thought you shared a lot of good, genuine points in creating those relationships that are going to be deep and meaningful to then further grow. One, it's going to further grow your business, but you're just going to make it a better experience overall. So I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah. Oh, look, and we're an hour in. This is
I know, right? And isn't it crazy? It goes quick. I'm keeping an eye on compliance as you're going through, but I'm listening to you.
No, I'm going to read the next couple slides.
No, but being able to share your experiences, I think it's helpful.
Well, when I taught the classes before, like in the market center, people felt like I had people say that I was like the only person that like went off the textbook. I know you're not supposed to go off the textbook, but one of the only people that felt like they gave them like real life, like experience and like situations. And I think that's really what people are looking for.
I think that's more relatable, right? Than a generic.
They could just read this.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, it's great. It's good content, but sometimes it's trying to put it into a real life situation, like when a buyer is distraught, or walking into that situation when somebody has passed away. Like that's knowing how to be able to approach that.
People are getting divorced and they want to keep their home and their husband, like, you know what I mean? People aren't always moving and excited to buy.
Right.
I've had people that live in a huge house with their husband and they're downsizing and now they have to buy a home and all they can afford is this, and they're letting their kids down and they're crying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always super exciting.
No, the move down buyer, that was my first community that I sold houses in. And so what's really weird is in my mind, I thought I had this ability. I thought maybe people my age, so maybe, or maybe a little younger. So I thought I was going to be dealing with young first-time home buyers or move-up buyers, and I was with the move-down buyers. So it was the older generation, and it was crazy because then
they don't know what they're going to do with their stuff, and
yes, and there's bigger problems that you have to. So more objections, right? You have to learn to overcome. You also have to learn to listen to their needs because they can be very specific, right? Like I know one of the big things that we had to make sure is that stairs in a house,
Yeah.
stairs getting into the entryway,
Well, I
right?
said to somebody, go, what about a stair lift? And they were like, no way, we don't trust those. They're like,
Right.
no, I don't know. I was like, oh, they look like fun. Like, you want to go for a ride? They're like, we don't trust them.
No, but I mean, I've had, making sure wheelchair accessibility, that, maybe there might be, some mobile issues where they might have to use a wheelchair. So then you're looking at, various, just real life situations where you're having to understand their needs. And then for me, one of the craziest, I say, aha moments in there was the wheelchair accessibility.
Right.
And then you have to think, and I'm not trying to use this as like a pun, but think at that level. What is it like to be sitting in a chair or not being able to mobile? That's the reason why they're now buying a new house, is because now they have mobility issues.
Right.
Understanding what the challenge is to get into a bathroom at night. Understanding, being able to get access to a microwave or a stove, countertops, refrigerators, like.
Right. It's crazy. It's sad. Like,
But it's sad. And then you're going, okay, but now I have to address these needs, figure out how do we problem solve to accommodate for this buyer. And it's crazy. Then you start to go through those situations. But that initial consultation is sitting down and listening and discovering and understanding why. The realtor that I worked with on that particular transaction, came in to just look at the house. That's all she was doing. She was looking at my model home and she was looking at it. And I said, well,
do you
tell me-
represent a builder?
What's that?
Did you represent a builder?
I did. I represented builders. And so, but it was more or less a discovery question. And then wouldn't you know it, when the agent said, this is the only on-site builder agent who actually took the time to start listing all these needs. And I was writing them down. And she's like, well, what are you doing? I said, well, you talked about bathrooms and then you talked about countertops, because I was following you around, annoying you and asking you a billion questions about your client,
Right.
because I want to see if we're a fit. Because if we're not, then, I know other builders, in the community, we might be able to get you something. It won't be my sale, but at the end of the day,
It's coming from contribution. It's not about the commission always.
right. And so I think you had mentioned that, to where you had said, it's money will come, but if you come at it from a true, genuine position, and you put their needs before yours.
I hate when people say to me, oh yeah, it must be nice. Like, like, I don't even know what my commission is. Like, that's like a total like thought in the background.
Mhm.
It's not ever about that.
No, I was the same way after a while. It just got to a point where it was like, yeah, I know what I'll make on the deal, but it's not even about that. It's not even about that. Like, just how do you stay in the moment and locked into their needs through the whole process?
Right.
Then the paycheck comes and you're like, all right, cool.
Okay. That's what, yeah.
I get to go
How
spend
many
my,
more minutes are they gonna do that?
we can, however long you want.
I see to listen to a voice now. Can you hear me, Abby?
Give another minute or so.
Okay.
Hey, Kevin, it's very quick. It's 9:50 Wednesday. I'm at Saffron Park Drive. And the guy that was here working, I don't know if it was the owner or not, I don't think it was the owner, was very adamant about locking the front door. The handle is loose, and this deadbolt just won't go in. I'm trying to
Go ahead. Bring them back in. It'll take a minute for them to come back in. I'm also running to grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Bye, Kim.
Hi. How'd it go? Great, I bet. I can't even tell how many people are in here now, but we'll just start. Did anybody have any ahas? I'm sure that was fun. Anybody?
I am so sorry if someone was in a room with me and I wasn't there. I just got back from the residence. I'm sorry about that.
I love it. Okay. So just kind of practicing asking the questions. I think, even if you don't have an aha, just, getting used to asking the questions, asking for the business. I think sometimes we're afraid to ask for the business, but you just have to ask, right? Because the worst thing they can say is no.
My partner told me she would hire me.
Really? I would hire you. You're pretty outgoing. I like that about you.
I'm definitely an I.
And I love Panera, so I feel like we would be friends. But
Oh my gosh, I've handed out so many cards.
My partner almost had me ready to sign an agreement right now.
really? Okay, great.
My man,
Thanks,
Matt Stevens.
Perfect. So ask for the appointment, ask for the referrals, ask for them to, reciprocate the connection that you've made. I'm like reading this, sorry. So converting leads, obviously finding their motivation, a lot of this, we kind of talk about already. Creating that relationship, determining their motivation and willingness to sell, and asking for their appointment using 2 steps. So you want to ask for their business and say, when will you be ready to sell? I like to let people know that I want to come over, I want to see your house, I want to meet you, right? I want you to like fall in love with me, my personality, I want you to like commit to me. And I don't care if there's dishes in your sink. I don't care if your beds aren't made. I want to come over because I can see past all of that. Like it does not have to be show ready. I had somebody call me yesterday and she said, I've been wanting to call you for weeks, but I just haven't gotten my dining room painted yet. And I just am so embarrassed. I'm like, I'm coming over. I'm like, you're your best friend. I was like, you can be in your pajamas. I was like, I wish I could, but that's not professional. So I said, I'll put on a pair of jeans. And I'll just come over and we'll hang out and we'll get to know each other. It does not have to be show ready for you to come over and do a listing appointment. I think a lot of sellers get anxious about that we're going to, critique them. And we're going to say, take everything off your fridge, whatever, but it doesn't have to be that way when we come and meet them. So just letting them know that, we don't work for HGTV. We've seen it all. Their house does not have to be show ready for us to come over and chat and get to know each other. Question?
I actually had a showing that was a referral to me on last weekend. And yeah, and they'd been looking at this house for 15 years that they like kept passing, and it finally went on market, and they decided that they didn't. Yeah, they bought their house the same year that this house was purchased as well. So they missed out on this house. So it went on market, and so they wanted to see it. And they unfortunately decided it was too much work. But immediately at the end of our showing, they asked me to come to their house. And so I went straight over to their house because it was down the road. And we went over kind of the things that would need to be fixed up. And since they decided not to purchase the other one, they were like, we loved you. So we're gonna can finish up our house currently, and then we're gonna be in touch with you because we're gonna talk about selling with you.
I love that.
And they were really embarrassed that their house was messy. I was like, I don't care. You should see my bedroom.
Matter. Okay, right. I love that. Right. Okay. So asking for the appointment, saying, I'm available, 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, giving them choices. Sometimes people need you to say this time or this time. What other questions can you think of that fit into the who, what, where, when, why timeline? I know we kind of talked about that already, but I want to go back to the appointment. So saying, well, I have a 1 o'clock or a 3 o'clock. As you get busier, I have an identical twin sister, and I said, oh, I've got an appointment at 10, 12, and 4:30. So at 4:45 she calls me and I'm like, hello, and she's like, I thought you had an appointment. And I'm like, well, why are you even calling me if you thought I had an appointment? I said, I'm bringing my daughter to get her nails done. So, well, that's not an appointment. And I said, yes, it is. It is an appointment. Like, you have to schedule your personal time. That's in your schedule. And nobody needs to know, your clients don't need to know that you're taking, going to get your nails done, or you have a hair appointment. It's an appointment. And I just think that's super important to time block that, or if you don't start doing that now, you'll get lost and you won't have any of your own time. And I just think people respect that, right? If you say, oh, I'm available right this second, sometimes that is convenient for them, but they will respect the fact that you can't just come over. I have an appointment today at 2, I could do tonight at 5, or tomorrow at this time. And when we call to get our hair done or a doctor's appointment, they don't say, you know what, come on down right now, I've got availability. And we respect that because they are running a business and they have other clients. You don't want to say, oh, I can get you in July, but giving them a couple of dates that are available that are soon. And I think almost everybody will prefer that, because I think if you're available right this second, they wonder, geez, or if you are available, just say, well, I just had a cancellation. This actually works out perfect. I am available today. Making them think you are busy, but not too busy to put them in your schedule, which is a little bit of a fine line, because nobody wants to work with somebody that's too busy for them, but nobody wants to work with somebody who, sorry, my daughter must be using my printer. And nobody wants to work with somebody who has no other business going on. My daughter's gonna walk in the office and grab her math homework, I think. Anyways, so I think that's very important. So pre-qualifying buyers, we've covered, how to find and convert buyers. We just want to talk about how to pre-qualify them. So, understanding their motivation, positioning yourself as the expert. We touched on this earlier, but you are the expert. Hang on, Abby, 1 second. Sorry. Wednesday's the only day my daughter is home for for school. Winning the listing, allowing you to price the home to sell for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. I like to always tell my sellers, I remind my sellers all the time, they're in charge. I'm going to list your home, I said, and I'll make a joke. I'll say, if you want to list your home for $1 million, perfect. I said, because I want to sell your home for $1 million. You can choose the price. I'm going to tell you where I think the price should be, but ultimately it's your home and you can decide. And they want you to decide, but they like to know that you think that they're the boss. They want to be in charge. Everybody does. So letting them know, hey, we should be listing around 175, 180, but ultimately it's your decision. And then almost always they'll reflect back to you and say, no, you're the expert, but I think they like you to say, but it's your home. You can decide, what you want to list at, but we're going to look at the comparables first. Set their expectation, you want them to have a great customer experience. So letting them know, every Monday, I'm going to follow up with you, good, bad, or ugly. Like every Monday or every Tuesday around this time from 9 to 12, I will be calling you and giving you an update. And that way they're not calling you on random times, or, they just know they don't have to call you on Saturday night, because they know that every Monday I call them with an update. And of course, if something comes up, they will reach out. But if they already know, that you reach out to them on a certain time and a certain day, they don't feel lost in the dirt. Like, I don't know, I haven't heard from her in a while. They just know come Monday, you're going to call. So in your electronic toolkit, you do have a pre-listing questionnaire. So if you have that in front of you, making those notes on there so you do remember, because I always think I would remember, and then, something happens and you don't completely remember. So I love to know where people heard about me, so you can thank the person who gave your name. I think that's very important. Letting the people that refer you know, hey, thank you so much for having, Jessica reach out to me. Referrals are a huge part of my business, and without referrals, I can't do what I love to do. And just letting them know you do appreciate the referral.
Yeah, but in regards to the referrals, like when we're sending out our handwritten notes, can we put on there that we will pay for referrals if the house closes? Like, can we put a dollar amount on there, or is that not allowed?
I don't know if that's allowed.
It is not allowed.
Say,
You cannot ask for compensation for referrals at all. That's definitely illegal.
Okay,
Yep, it's considered a kickback.
right. I like to say, thank you so much for the referral at the walkthrough. I know Jessica referred you to me. If you have anybody in the future, let me know, because I do, I will send you a little thank you in the mail.
so you can,
Know that you'll send a thank you in the mail. It could be a card. You could have a gift card in there after, you know what I mean? But just saying, thank you so much for the business. If you do refer me, I'll send you a little thank you in the mail. And the thank you could be a card, but don't mention it's if it's monetary, if it's, you know what I mean? If it's a cruise, nothing to do that, but I wouldn't mention anything specific, but just say, I really appreciate the referrals, and anybody that refers me, I do like to send out a little thank you in the mail.
okay,
You can send an actual, like, Dunkin' Donuts gift card for the amount of a cup of coffee, but you have to do it for every single referral. You can't just pick and choose. I was just told that by Sarah D'Angelo in Capital District.
But you can just include that in like a Christmas card that has nothing to do with the transaction. Thank you for the referral. If that person is in your database and the holidays come around and you're sending out a card and hey, Merry Christmas, and you throw in the gift card, then that way it's in no way attached, but at the same time, they're still like, oh, this person takes care of me.
I feel like maybe the easiest way for this to be rectified is to not, because like,
Post up and say, anybody that sends you a referral, I'll send you $100 gift card. No, I definitely.
yeah, I think that a thank you card suffices, guys.
Yeah, those gift cards are going to add up quick after a while.
Yeah.
And you can only write off a certain amount.
But I just think even the referral, just to call them and say, hey, so-and-so reached out, I just cannot thank you enough. Sometimes that's enough for people, you know what I mean? Just to let them know that they connected, they mentioned their name, and you appreciate it. So.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've found that people who do referrals don't expect anything in return. You could say thank you, but they like if you were to give them something, they'd be like, wait, what?
I think that if you ran into them at Panera, let's say, and you could be like, hey, and then run over and buy their coffee for them if you saw them out or something like that when you see them would be more appropriate. Or I know during certain holidays, if it's if you give out pies for, Thanksgiving, or you send out, could say, thank you so much for the referrals throughout the years, happy Thanksgiving, putting a pumpkin on their front doorstep, with a thank you so much. You've been, key to my business. I appreciate the referrals this year. Little stuff like that, I could definitely do. I think we're going to do more role playing. Okay, so we're going to role play and talk about pre-listing questionnaire. So you can practice filling out that the pre-listing questionnaire, with one of you being the seller and the other one pretending to be the agent. And then we'll talk about what you learned from filling out the role play questionnaire. Does everybody have a copy of that? It looks like this.
I do not.
It's in our toolkit in our drive, guys, or some of us, at least Capital District.
Chris?
I can send out the link again if anybody needs it.
Was that in our script book or is that in a different part of the toolkit?
It says it's in the electronic toolkit.
The toolkit, Josh, also has it's where you would find the script book. It's underneath
I'm
the
asking.
scripts.
Okay.
Just want to take turns interviewing each other, one, being the agent, one being the seller, and just, fill out this questionnaire together. And then if you feel like there's something missing on that sheet, we're going to talk about that after. So if there's a question that you asked or wish was on the sheet that you think is helpful, we're going to talk about that when we come back.
They're entering the rooms now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, that just hit.
Chris,
Yes.
I'm very confused. I don't have a booklet. I don't have any paperwork to use or anything like that.
Okay.
And I tried looking for it yesterday, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, all right. If you go on to my KW.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to do the steps with you.
Okay, let me use my other phone. Hang on.
Are you on your phone or you on a computer?
Yeah, I'm doing it on my phone.
Okay.
Kimberly, hey Kimberly, I left the room because you're supposed to be in my room, right?
I guess so, but I don't know. I mean, all I'm seeing is 10 minutes sellers pre-qualification. I don't have any material. Like do you have a book or a booklet?
What's your email?
It's k.kennedy@kw.com.
All right, I'll send it to you right now.
Thank you.
Let's get into my Gmail. So k.w.kellerwilliams.com.
Yeah.
Or k.kennedy at KW, right?
Yeah. So I'm on the page, my KW full site. Did you want to walk me through finding the material?
Oh, yeah. So up towards, well, I'm saying I'm on my screen, but if you go under education and click that link, you see so on my screen, my computer screen, it's up top, but I've not done this on the phone. So
Yeah, I can't do it on the phone. Okay, so education.
Yep. And then hit education. And then you'll have Keller Williams University screen pop up. You'll have and then it's the third little block over to, I'm again on my screen. I'm going off my computer screen. Off to your right is Ignite 2.0 Lab.
Ignite 2.0 Lab.
Yep. And then in the middle of the screen, you're going to see course info. You'll have materials, e-learning. You're going to click on the materials tab.
Click materials.
Yep. And then you're going to see the student files, and all the way down at the bottom of those student files is the Ignite toolkit.
Files.
If you click the toolkit, it should just download.
Okay.
And then
I just emailed it to her too.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
Perfect.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? I'm trying to figure out what's going on with
No
what.
worries. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chris.
No, you're totally fine.
No, you're helping me.
And it was very helpful that you did that. Thank you.
Oh, I see. Okay, pre-listing questionnaire. I'm looking at it right now.
Awesome.
Okay. Can you send us back out to our room though, Chris?
I will try.
Magic. We don't know how this works. Otherwise, you can listen to us. That face said he did not want that.
No. I was looking to see how I could move you guys back into your room. Oh, did she just go into her?
I bet she did. I had left it.
Yeah, did she just go in? I'm just gonna move you into a room. I'll move you into room 7.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
But I'm still here.
Move to, let's try this room.
I think she was in room 8. That's the room I was in before.
You're trying to put me in a room. I'm just gonna say later.
Hmm?
I don't know. Chris, you were trying to put me in a room.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, but I.
Joe put, was it Joe or Eric put me in one? Oh, room 9. Nope, room. Sorry, I was trying to move you. I'm moving you into room.
I should be in room 8.
Yeah, and I moved you both out because she jumped out of it. I don't know where she went. She might have jumped off. Do I have? Oh, yeah, she did. I'm putting her back on. She must have signed off. That's why.
She must have accidentally left everything instead of just the room. We're killing it with this technology, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom is one of those things that seems like it's user friendly, and then like,
But so does Command, and then you touch it and things break.
right, and then it's like, oh, today not so much, you know.
I mean, it took me like 3 weeks to get DocuSign to work. Hey, Kimberly, we're gonna get put into a room again, hopefully.
I'm trying to move y'all, and it's not moving you guys for whatever reason. There's that. Yeah, my screen, I'm moving Candace to room 8. So y'all should, do you guys get a message that you got a room to join?
Yep.
It said that I'm in a room, but I haven't gotten the button to push to go to that room.
That's odd. Because on my screen, it says you're in the room. Or you're not
Is
joined
this-
yet. It says you're not joined yet. And then Kimberly just was able to join.
But not I, said the cat.
It said it in there.
I don't know how to.
Let me see if I-
Usually it does give me the thing, but not this time.
That's really odd. I can't even like.
Do you want me to like log out and log back in?
Well, I'm trying to see if I can. Wait, hold on. Let me see something. Oh, put it. No. I'm seeing if I have other options. It's odd. Yeah, I don't know.
Here, I'll call her on the phone.
Yeah.
Chris, the next one says that I have to like go and show the listing presentation in my Command. I don't see that in Command.
Oh, do you have a listing presentation to show?
No. But it says that I should be able to log into Command and review the listing presentation and designs.
They have a template, but
I don't even see it.
let me see.
Because I'm in my Command. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. So if you go down into designs.
Designs, this is it.
Oh yeah, hit the little plus arrow in your lower, there you go. And then you can go to social if you want, I believe that's, and then go to next.
Oh, I am in. Video.
Yep, go to next. And what in the, I don't know if I've ever, oh, oops.
I went to search and I went to like listing and
Let me
nothing.
pull up my command.
Like I can create one, but this is acting like if I log into Command, I can preview a listing presentation.
And it's set in designs, correct?
Yeah, it says, now say we'll log into Command and view the listing presentation in designs. So I'm definitely in designs and I don't see any listing presentation.
Command, sign in. If I go under designs, I've just not seen, and I go under that little plus arrow on the lower right, hit social, hit next. It should just direct me. Well, it directs me. Let's see, and then it goes under listings, and then so for sale, just listed. You can also if you go under, let's see what comes up over here.
Somebody's in the waiting room. Does that matter?
Oh, yeah. Oh, here. I don't have anybody in. If you go under command hit, you can hit print.
Designs.
Yeah, well, yeah, you okay. Oh, or go to the plus. Sorry. And then hit, you have hot print and then hit next. I've not seen. Oh, here you go. You're being redirected. All right, perfect. Because before it didn't redirect you.
Right.
And then you should be able to over under listing. If you do the drop down arrow for listing, there should be, yeah, listing presentations.
Perfect.
And then there's a template to be able to create and manipulate.
Okay. I didn't even know this was in here. So this is different than your CMA. Okay. Just want to make sure I had that, so that's good. Cool. Do you think I should back it up and show them how I got there? Probably. When I share the screen, I'll just show them how I got there.
It's funny, during that discovery thing that they're working on,
Mhm.
I can remember I sold a house to a buyer. They showed up, no appointment, whatever. And I had appointments list, you know. And so as you're saying, keep the appointments, and it just made me think of that whole scenario. So I just got to talking. I was like, listen, I got a little bit of time to talk to me about what you're looking for. They were moved down buyers, they were retirees.
Right.
I said, so tell me what your interests are. And they were giving me the, the schematics of the house. I'm like, that's great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set an appointment for you a little later on this afternoon, but I want to talk to you about you. And I was like, so tell me some things you like outside of a house, because I think I have the house for you, but tell me outside. And they were like, one guy's like, I want to be able to go fishing all day. I said, great. Told them where all the lakes were, told them how far they were. And I said, all right, so we're talking further. And as we're doing discovery, I said, so, I kind of know what she likes. I kind of know what you like, but what do you both like to do together? Like, what's the, y'all been married forever. Like, they said, we like salsa dancing. And I said, no way. And I said, well, believe it or not, I have a good friend. His name is Armand. He used to host a Latin night. Well, I don't know if he still does, but I can give you the contact information.
Right.
Latin night. And I said, what they do is actually bring professional salsa dancers in, and they can give salsa lessons for the evening. And then they have it's salsa dancing throughout the night. No way. And I said, all right, here is Armand's contact information. Here is, here's this and that and the other thing. So then I gave him the dance studio number, all just sitting there. And I said, I said, it is around lunchtime if you guys ate. No. So, you guys are looking to move to the South. You're looking in this town. Said, there is a phenomenal barbecue restaurant. You had Southern barbecue before. No. Okay, well, here you go. So I gave them the restaurant's address. They went and got lunch, came back, they bought the house that night.
I love that. Right.
I mean, I literally went through and showed a floor plan. It wasn't even so much as the floor plan. It fit everything that they needed, because that's, I mean, it is what it is. But it was more or less about getting to know them and getting to understand their needs outside of the house.
Right.
And they, like, the reason why we bought was because you actually took the time. And in a competitive market that I was in, they literally could have physically walked across the street and went to another builder who had a similar floor plan. I mean, like,
It's like you took the time.
you just sit there and you take the time. And they're like, and so following up, again, you were talking about thank you cards. Yeah, what do you think they got as a closing gift? Because they found out they really loved the restaurant I sent them to.
Right.
They got a gift certificate they got a gift certificate.
Right.
You know, dinner's on me tonight. You know, enjoy as you're moving in. I was still an assistant, so my on-site agent was like, "You got me doing a contract on my day off." Suck it up.
Right. So how did I go? I must have
You
gone
got a print? Yep.
add.
Print. Yep. Next.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I just
I
wanted
thought I had a great conversation.
All right, we'll finish these breakout rooms. Close here in just a minute.
all right. I just want to get that on the screen. Perfect.
All right, here we go. Coming in a minute. Coming in hot. 1 minute.
I'm just saying I'm already here.
Just knowing that you're at Panera is making me so hungry.
I just tried their like egg and their spinach and bacon souffle,
Oh yeah.
and game changer.
I
Game
love
changer.
it.
I like have been having their flatbread wraps and everything, and I'm
I
like,
like
nah, like I'm too healthy.
Right. It does seem pretty healthy. I get the extra chipotle sauce, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's oh, I have the chicken wrap, like
Yeah.
the Chipotle chicken. That was fire.
Avocado
And then I just discovered they have chocolate chip muffin
Just the top.
tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm so happy right now. So that was my breakfast. Probably got to go to the gym. Probably, maybe. I don't know. I put makeup on today, so we'll see if I go to the gym.
I know. I was like, oh, I'm teaching this class. I'm not going to make it to the gym. All right.
Yeah, I usually go right after this training, and then.
Yeah.
But I also hate being sweaty in the middle of the day.
Right. That's tough. I know. Guys have it so easy. They just shower and wipe off their body and their body. It's so much harder for us.
Hey, relax. You still gotta put in that
Hey,
effort.
by the way, I was at the
Whatever.
gym. I was at the gym at 5:45 this morning, 6 o'clock. This morning.
And
Why do we?
I mean,
mean-
ready to
Don't
go.
shower.
We can't do that. We're like, oh.
And
I mean, I used to go to the gym that early, and then I decided I didn't hate myself.
that's seriously, that's the only time in my life, like when I say that, like out of my schedule, that is like my only time that I get to me, other than because when I get out of here, I'm home and it's dad,
I
it's
go to
husband.
the office and I'm in my workout stuff. I wonder, people probably think I don't work, but I go to the gym and then I usually go over to Keller and print.
Yeah, we have a gym, there's 2 gyms literally pretty much across the street from here. And so, I mean, I can literally just drive across the street.
Oh, I could, yeah, but see, I'm not that person that showers at the gym. That sounds so gross. Like, am I gonna get gangrene? I don't know.
You could.
Yes.
You probably
Yes, you're
won't.
gonna get gangrene.
I don't want that in my life. I would rather,
Sure, they got enough going on. I don't need that.
right? My dog is already annoying me. Like, I don't need gangrene.
I think you just have to own that gangrene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you eventually become one with it. It's
It's a good color.
yeah, it's nice. It goes well with red.
Yeah. So did everybody fill that out or pretend to fill it out, ask the questions? Was there anything on there that was like an aha Or is there anything on there that you felt like should be added, like a question that you felt like definitely should have been on the sheet that wasn't?
Well, one of the things I noticed, I was with Brandon, and I was with him the first time too, and I noticed it when I did the reading, and then again when he did. We both said, are you free to meet at this time? And kind of assume that it was at the house, the seller's house. Whereas in real life, hey, I'm gonna take a look at the house eventually. Would you be comfortable with me stopping by tonight around whatever? Or would you prefer to meet at my office? Just that little thing. I realized that both of us sort of assumed that this stranger wanted us at their house right away.
Okay. Right. Making sure that we're both meeting at the same place. It's happened to me a couple times. I meet people at the wrong place.
Yeah, it's
The worst.
definitely easy. Got to be sure of that.
I mean, I closed on a oh, sorry, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Oh, I just want to say that at the end of this, I like to add in what they should expect, like as a recap. And I usually say, like, I look forward to seeing you, Tabitha, virtually on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Okay. And then also, in order to do an accurate market analysis, I'll need to stop by for a 15-minute walkthrough. How does Tuesday at 5 work for you? And then just to clarify what to expect, I'll see you briefly and just tell them again what they're going to expect. I'll see you briefly tomorrow for a 15-minute walkthrough. I'm going to have information for you to fill out on what you love about your house. And I'm going to email you a confirmation link, blah, blah, blah. So I tell them all the steps of here's what to expect. And I said, is that okay with you? Does that sound good? I always ask,
I love that.
Does that sound good to you?
Right. Yeah.
That
I
works
think
for me.
letting them know what the expectations are, letting them know what the next step is, no matter what, I think is super important. There's obviously people that want to know every single step, but then there's some people that are one step at a time type people. So we sign the listing contract. The next step is going to be, scheduling your home inspection and, just letting them know. Everybody wants to know what the next step is, what's going to happen next, when are we going to close? Do we have a closing date? I've got somebody text me. They text me every day and ask me when the closing date is. And every time I tell them, you don't have a closing date yet. So, but they ask, they just want to know. Okay. So does anybody else have any ahas from the?
So just kind of like an issue that I guess we kind of ran into was after it says the whole, if we sell your house in 30 days, would that pose a problem for you? So basically like the response that we had gotten back was kind of like, well, as long as I have a place to go, like that wouldn't be an issue. And we had Sabina on there and she kind of explained, just to kind of reassure them that just because like you're signing that, like doesn't mean that you have to move out of that house in 30 days.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of like looking for like a clear, like how we should like approach that, I guess. Because I feel like that would be like a pretty common response.
Tabitha?
Good.
So I did a data blast with Shauna Edwards the other day, and she actually covered an answer for this. She said that she said, Kimberly, do you remember what I just said to you? Because I forgot. But essentially it was saying like, if your home was to sell, by the time you close, if we haven't found you another property, we do have that option where we could put your stuff into storage and find you a short-term rental so that you don't settle for another property. So we can find the home that you are truly looking for. We can get you out of your house and sell that house.
I didn't even know
But
that was
also-
an option until you told me. I didn't know that was even an option until you told me.
Yeah, there's short-term rental opportunities in which, I mean, ideally you'll be there for a short amount of time, but that was something that we problem solved the other day in our data blast. It's just like, there are different options. We have to be able to find the other options to offer to them so that they aren't afraid.
And letting
Just to
them
add to
know
that,
you understand.
so that you guys are all aware, we have a 10% KWCD discount for pods as well. So if they have to close on one day and close like 3 days later on another, they stay in a hotel or something, the pods are a great option as well. And we offer a 10% discount for KWCD agents.
I did not know that. Thank you, Julie.
And for somebody who used the pod recently moving, man, that was phenomenal. Now, the only regret I had is that I didn't hire movers, but that's a whole nother story. So, anyway.
Do we have that in the Syracuse market? We aren't affiliated with pods, correct?
I think it's just KWCD, so, or I mean, just KW.
Oh,
Yeah, I might have misspoke.
It might be just me, but I don't know, what is the pods? I don't know what that is.
A
Like
pod
moving
is it's like a trailer that they drop in your driveway. And then you fill it up with all of your stuff, and then they move it to your new house.
Almost think of it like this, in the way it was.
Storage unit.
Yeah, it's almost like a movable storage unit, kind of like a container. A large, think of something you could put on a train, but not that big. They come in various sizes, but something and I believe mine was actually put on a train. And they, ship it. I mean, I shipped mine from North Carolina to up here. And I mean, when I say it was beyond affordable, beyond a moving, like way more affordable than a moving truck. And they literally, it's a cool little process. But definitely take a few minutes just to look into it, just kind of know. I think it's a more convenient way to move, and then suggest hiring movers. Somebody to load it and unload it. I'm just saying. Sucks.
Wait, so do they load it for you also?
No, that's on you.
Okay.
Now I've had the experience of hiring movers, and I didn't do it this time. I wish I did. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. When we moved into this apartment, I said I was like, I will never move again without movers.
You also could put in the contract as a seller that you're not moving out until you have your own house. That's not a technical term, but basically you can say that it is contingent on the seller finding a new house.
One now.
all right. So now we're going to talk about the listing presentation. Which is different than the CMA. So I'm going to log into my agent.kw account, and then we'll look at that, and we'll look at how to set up a listing presentation that's unique to yourself. And this is different, obviously, than a CMA. So let's see. You would log into your command. I don't know how familiar you are with command, but these widgets or whatever you call them here, if you don't know exactly what they are, you can hit the KW up here and it will show you exactly what they are. For today, we're going to go down to designs. We are going to go over to print. I already clicked on it a few minutes ago, so it is popping up here already. If it wasn't, you could hit this X in the corner. Make sure it says print. Next. Once you've gotten into the listing presentation template, it'll pop right up. So this is a bunch of the print options that are available. We're going to go down to listings in listing presentation. There's a few different ones. The one that we're going to look at is the one that's black, the fourth one over. It's pretty interactive, so you can just click on the slides. If you don't want a slide, you can take it out. So you'll click on a slide. You can type right on here. You can add text, images, logos, and just kind of change up the pages. Once you change the pages, it'll be saved. So you can do one page at a time at your convenience. And then this is just something that's easy to print out to bring on a listing presentation. You know, it's effective to bring something like this with you. You know, it shows that the confidence in you, even if they don't necessarily look at it, you want to bring something to leave with them, especially if you're competing against other agents, because they will most likely leave something behind. A strong listing packet obviously will make your consultation smoother, probably shorter, and it'll answer the questions that people have. So if you click on the design applet, you'll be able to choose exactly which design works best for you. But once it's all set up, it's easy to just kind of print out every time. So it's important that you know, have a listing presentation ready to go. You can switch this out every time, put a picture of their home, you know, compliments of you, obviously. Talk about the home, the property that you're featuring. You know, if you've got time, I know that some people will go and actually just take a picture of the house from the yard. You know, just you have it in here. You could put the comparable properties in here. It just, there's some beautiful templates just to kind of get an idea. And then you could talk about the process. You could change this up if you want to get rid of one of these, or you want to add something that is part of your process. So a lot of information, and you know, once you have it ready to go and it's what you like, it's easy. But I would take the time to set this up and get it the way that you like it, so that you can change it on the fly for different appointments. Talk about your marketing plan. You know, how you find buyers. Obviously, we know it's mostly internet, and obviously the real estate agents are a huge part of that. So we're going to take about 10 minutes to kind of look through that and to practice your listing presentation. If you have any questions with it, write down your questions. We can go through it, but I would go into the templates and look for one that you like and just kind of mess around with it, and take some time to kind of get to know this area of command if you haven't already. Does anybody have any questions? Is anybody using this already?
I do.
I am.
Do you find it easy when you've got an appointment to just kind of switch it out a little bit, but it's ready to go? You print this and bring it to all your appointments, your listing appointments?
I do.
I don't print it and bring it. I use it more as a pre-listing presentation. So I actually send it to them prior to us meeting. And then if they have any, I just ask them to review it. And if they have any questions about it, then we can talk about it at the listing agreement or at the listing presentation.
I like that. So it gives them some information to look at ahead of time. Okay.
I do as well. I give it to them first, but sometimes and I make sure they go over it, but then I bring a hard copy with me.
Everything I bring, I always bring on. I like to tell people that I'm trying to be like environmentally sound, so I'm not trying to waste too much paper. So I'll bring it on my iPad and flip through it that way for people, as well as send it to them.
Right, and then you've got their email, you got, you know, it's a good time to fill out their information in command. You know what I mean? What's your email? What's the, you know what I mean? You collect all that information, so. All right, we're still to take about 10 minutes to look through that. Is everybody okay with that? Just kind of taking a look at if you haven't already set that up. If you don't want to do that now, we can kind of just talk about some ahas from that. So when you have, I guess the people that have sent it ahead of time, had people, you feel like people have looked at it, they've looked, you know, you feel like it's helped you get the listing? It's helped answer questions for them? Is there a page that people like the most?
I don't necessarily know if people go through it piece by piece, but I have like a lot of referral sources in there and such. So if they have a need for a lawyer or a contractor or a lender, I have those in there. I also have like grants. So if they're looking for help with down payments and that kind of thing, so I have that in there. So I always kind of direct them to the most important pages more than anything. But I don't usually get a lot of questions from this. So I don't know how much they actually read. And I always feel like I kind of have the list before I actually sent it anyway.
Yeah. Even if they don't look at it, it's nice. At least they saw you sent an email. There's some content in there. They feel like you went the extra mile, even if they're not really reading every page, which I doubt that they are.
I feel like the look is so polished and professional that people feel like you went through a lot of effort and time. It's kind of like when you're back in high school and you put together like a book report that, the teacher will give you an A just because it looks like you did a lot more work than you may have actually done.
Yeah, well said. I agree. I agree. It looks beautiful. It looks like it took a ton of time to do. And it definitely takes some time to kind of like get these pages the way that you want them. But once it's done forever. Yeah. And I do agree with what Julie said, that it is nice if you have the list of the home inspectors, you have a list of the attorneys you recommend, you have a list of some contractors, because that's definitely something that they can reflect back on once they're under contract and they have that list already in front of them. You're already compliant. You've already given them a list of 3 as we have to do. So if it's already in there, it's done.
I like that, Julie. Thank you for that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I actually have mine, Elizabeth, if you want me to send it to you, I have mine set up so that I have their logos all on one sheet. And then I have the links to their website. So all they have to do is click on it, it goes right to their site too.
Yeah, I actually have those all done on like Word doc. So I email them and tell them that the links are in there, but I think it's better to have it in here. And for first impression, if they're going to glance through anything, they may not read it word by word, but the fact that you sent it, I think that means something to them. It'll click. So yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Can anybody else think of anything else that you feel like you could add to this besides the information about attorneys, lenders, grants? That's a great one. Okay, so I will get out of here, but everybody knows how to access that. I do agree, Command is supposed to be super user friendly, but every time I go to use it, it's not as user friendly as I think it could be. But I don't have any ideas on how to make it better. So there's just so much content, you just have to know how to find it.
And I think it's just a matter of listening to your clients as you go along, as you build your business and finding out what their needs are and making sure it's in there in the future. Because that's basically, I just kept adding to it. Like with grants, like some people are like, well, I really want to buy a house, or, well, but that was for buying a house, but there's a buying presentation packet in there as well. And just making sure that they have an opportunity to be able to do that with the grant options. So.
What do you mean by the grant option, Julie?
Well, I know that I think it's NYSAR has a grant that offers first-time home buyer grants for like down payments or closing costs. And FHA has it obviously, and Section 8 actually has it as well. They have like you take a 6-class thing and they'll pay your down payment or something. So there's different grants that are options as well.
Would you mind sharing that with me?
Sure.
There's some information right now on the Empower website. Do you have Empower where you are? Empower Federal Credit Union. There is a grant program now. I think it's called the Home Buyer Dream. I have a list. I just there are right now, I think they rolled it out on April 1st. Funds started to be available for first-time home buyers. I think it's a $14,000 grant. What I find difficult in this market is that, sellers know which people are getting the grant, and it's such a competitive market that it's tough for those offers to be accepted, because on the pre-approval, obviously, they're getting the grant. But there are definitely programs available right now until funds are gone. And they tend to roll that out the last couple of years around this time, April, May.
What did you say that new home one was?
I think it's called the Home Buyer Dream. Hang on one
It's
second.
make the dream, I think. Or and it works for multifamilies too.
Yeah, it's called the Home Buyer Dream Program. It used to be called the First Home Club. I have this sheet from last year, but I know it's not much different. But there's, you know, if you Google it, there's just so many lenders that are offering it. It's last year, so the number might have changed a little bit, but it was funds in the form of a grant to be used towards down payment closing cost assistance for first-time home buyers. The maximum grant for a household was $14,500 and is determined by the member's lender. The first-time home buyer program, okay, so last year says it was May through August, but will only remain until funds are exhausted. So, you know, obviously they have to meet certain income requirements. You know,
actually
they still
bought
have
mine
to do a
first.
minimum contribution of $1,000. You know, at the time of closing, they understand that, you know, they can't sell within a certain amount of years. There's certain rules, and obviously I'd let the lender kind of take care of that. But I would just Google Home Buyer Dream Program, HDP program, M&T, Pathfinder, SEFQ, Solvay, Tompkins, Geddes, Empower, community banks, Americuse. I'm not really sure, you know, so yeah, it's called the Home Buyer Dream.
AHPhome.org is the Albany grant office. That's another website.
Can you guys put those links into the chat, please?
I think this is really, really helpful. I mean, if people knew this, how did I not know this? Thank you, Julie.
And the funds go
Welcome.
fast, so people need to go under contract, because once the funds are gone, the funds are gone. So, you know, that's important too, to talk to your people, and, you know, if they need the funds to purchase, they want to make sure that there's still funds when they go under contract, because they, even though they're getting a pre-qualification that says that they're part of the program, it's a first come, first served basis. So if it takes them months to find a home, even though their pre-qualification says they're in the program, once the funds are gone, the funds are gone. What's important to know is once funds are gone at one bank, they might not be gone at another bank. So they could, you know, the more popular lenders might be out of funds first. So they'd want to call maybe another bank and say, do you have any funds left for this program? Because each lender, as I understand it, has a certain amount of money to give. So sometimes like one bank's out of funds and the next one isn't. So. So come April, May, June, there's probably funds, but come July, August, it probably gets a little bit trickier. So just make sure that, you know, we have a bank here called Empower Federal Credit Union, and they're popular. So they tend to be out of funds first, just because they are big on the program. So you know, somebody that was pre-approved through Empower, I would have them call another smaller bank that's on the list and see if they still have funds.
Is that something that we would do for our clients, or is that something that they kind of look into like themselves and we just kind of give them that information?
I like to stay in my lane. I'm not a home inspector. I'm not a lender. I'm your realtor. So I would give them the information, let them know that the grants are available, but I would have them make the call themselves to get the information, just because, you know, we are not lenders.
Right. That makes sense. Thank you.
Confused. Yeah.
Right.
We are not the source. We're the resource.
Yeah, I always say it's not my area of expertise, so don't take my word for it. Call someone.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I put the links into the presentation. They go find the information for themselves.
Julie, I think you're a genius.
I could question that.
No,
But
that is-
you're welcome.
Julie, honestly, that is a really, really good idea, and I can't believe I didn't know that. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Can we legally put a link for a lender in our email sig?
Yeah, I would check with your local board, but I think you've got to give at least a list of 3. You can't just give 1. So if you're going to give 1 lender, you've got to give 3. That's the same with home inspectors and attorneys. So you always got to give a list of 3. You can't recommend just one person, 1 company, 1 lender. You got to at least recommend 3.
It's actually not a requirement, but definitely highly preferred because you don't want to be held responsible for anything that happens to them because of their choice.
Right. You recommended this bank or you recommended this home inspector and they didn't catch this. And, that's obviously your friend. So just here's a list of 3. They're not in any kind of an order. They're just all people I've used in the past that, my, prior clients have liked. Call them and see. So. Any ahas so far?
The idea, Julie's idea of putting the links in our presentation, that's such an aha moment. Thank you, Julie. Such a good idea.
Definitely.
Jump in if you have any questions, but we're going to move on to just the daily successful habits. So you'll want to daily try to add contacts to your command, have 10 conversations every day, 10 handwritten notes, and try to preview at least 10 homes per week. Even if you're not working with buyers right now, I'm sure if you ask somebody in your office if you could tag along, I can't imagine why they wouldn't let you. So just have as much information as you can in command. The goal is obviously to always have it say 50% or higher. It seems like if you get their name, their phone number, and their email, I think you're at 62 or 60 something %. So just having some different ways to contact them is great. Scripts. So it's important to use scripts to make them personalized, to just kind of help with lead generation, to, help you close deals and, speak in terms that customers understand. Use logo or logo. Just use the information that but speak to them in a way that they can understand. I think we touched on that earlier. Obviously, scripts are super important, but you don't want them to sound scripted. You don't want them, sounding like a call that somebody's trying to sell you, a warranty on your vehicle, like they've heard it before. Because I've had it, I've run a couple ads and I say, hi, this is Tabitha from Keller Williams. How are you? Click, so just trying to, get a script that is informational, that gets the point across, that sounds like you. Because people really are looking for somebody likable, which we talked about before, not always, somebody that knows the most, but that they feels like cares about them and is, working in their best interest. So we're going to do a little bit more role play with some script practice. Do you have access to scripts somewhere, Chris?
Yeah, we can send out the link if we need to.
Does everybody have links to some of the scripts?
They were sent in the toolkit.
Yeah.
I have buyer scripts.
In that,
Be rude, but are we gonna get a
Print it
break
out.
today?
I think I've got seller too.
Oh, great. I'm just kidding. Do we usually do a break?
yeah, I mean, we can take 5 if we need to.
You're fine. I'm taking 5. So if you're breaking up into a breakout room, I probably won't be there.
All right.
I'll get that for you.
Sweet. Thank you, sir.
I'm right here anyway.
I think that's about all we've got today is just kind of going through the scripts. So once we do the scripts, we can probably leave a few minutes early. We'll do the scripts and we'll just kind of talk about some ahas with the scripts and what scripts work and which ones, and then finish up.
Tabitha, when you get a minute, I have a specific question about a listing.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to ask now or.
Yeah, or do you want to go?
What's that?
Yeah, if you feel comfortable asking in front of everybody, that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah, sure. I just don't want to, hog up everybody's time here with my personal question, but others might want to know this too. So I'm in the middle of a listing and I had to go look at the house because it's so, unique. I couldn't do it just from doing CMAs online. Met with him Saturday. We're having trouble getting back in touch because he's in a very bad cell area doing work. The CMA came out to 239.9 or say 240,000. That's what I think. And I went over it with my coach. We think that's a sweet spot. 239.9. Okay. So now but it could go for a lot more because of this market. So pricing it at market value, we're trying to get a multiple offer situation. And he knows that. He's very clear on that. He's done a tremendous amount of work that all factored into the value. So now he wants to know, just bottom line, what's my net going to be? So I'd like to, my gut feel is to give him a range. It could be, I factored in that he only owes 100,000 on the house. So lowest case scenario would be 125,600. Highest case could be 145 or more thousand. Should I do a range? Because I don't know what the house is going to sell for.
I would give a list of the things that aren't going to change. So the cost of the abstract updating is going to be the same whether it gets 240 or 290. I would, the cost of the attorney fee is not going to change. The cost of the survey, if the seller pays for the survey in your area, isn't going to change. If there's any well or septic testing, I would make a list of those things that are seller costs that aren't going to change no matter what the price is.
Yeah, he doesn't have a well or a septic.
No well or septic. Okay,
No.
so he's going to have the abstract updating. Do the sellers update that where you are?
It's Schenectady County, so I think the seller pays for that in that particular county. I'm not sure. I have to look that up.
I know what that are. So it's going to be the abstracts, probably the survey, the attorney fee, a realtor fee, transfer tax, which is going to be 0.004% of the purchase price. So that's going to be $400 per 100,000. So that's not going to change too much, but those are the fees that they can count on no matter what. Because those vary if they get 240 or 340, other than the transfer tax.
Elizabeth, what's your email?
ElizabethPage@gmail.com. I'm sorry,
I have
at kw.com. I'm sorry.
Okay. I have a PDF, and I probably could share it with everyone because it's for the state of New York, I believe. That is like titled by county and who pays.
I know I've seen that somewhere, and I can't for the life of me.
Yeah, I have it saved to my computer, so I'll send it to you later.
Although, yeah, ElizabethPage@kw.com, and there's no I in page.
It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook.
Yeah, it's in the Facebook capital area, but
Oh,
it's such a
okay.
pain to look that up. I might as well just email it to her.
Spoon feed me that? That would be. I would so appreciate it.
Because really,
Tabitha-
a lot of those numbers aren't going to change whether it gets 50 grand more or not. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of those are flat fees other than our commission.
Right.
And that might be something you could add to the listing presentation as well, is just kind of like a set flat fee. You could make a net sheet on there for them where they could write in, you know, the house amount. They could, you know, some of these people don't want to tell you how much they owe on the mortgage, but they could write it on there and they could do the net sheet themselves if you have a template for them, which you could add to.
I feel like I've seen that and I don't remember where it is. I was just going by the price it sold for, how much he owed on the mortgage minus our commission.
Yeah. Because those are the closing costs for a seller, would be abstract, survey, attorney fee, commission, and transfer tax. Which, unless it's over $1 million sale, which I'm jealous if it is, it's 0.004% is the transfer.
So I think my gut feel is to tell him it's between 125,000. His net would be between 125,000, 145,000, not including his closing fees.
Right.
I think that's the easiest way to put it.
And I would make sure everything says approximate, because you don't want to give out, you know, you don't know exactly how much the attorney is going to charge. They may, you know, their fees may, you know, if that abstract's obviously going to be different cost if it's been updated last year or if it's never been updated. So I would give them an approximate.
Yeah. So
and I would call maybe an attorney in your area and find out what they're charging. I know around here, you know, like a seller's attorney is about $650. Abstract is about $350. If they need a new one, it could be up to $700. So just kind of get the fees for your area. Updating a survey is usually $275 to $350, but if they have to do a full recreate of a survey, it could be, you know, $600-700. So if you've got an attorney ally in your area, I would just call and see what that one person charges, and then just say approximately this number.
My understanding is the further south we go, the more expensive they get. Because like I typically use Catherine Hetnick, and she's like 600. So up here, I mean, you can find reasonably priced attorneys, but I know that my last client down in Delaware County paid like $1,200.
And maybe they were saying $1,200 because they were adding the abstract and survey updating in their attorney fee. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I guess my question is, would it be appropriate just to say, other than the closing costs, we're looking at price sold minus your mortgage, minus the realtor fees are going to be anywhere approximately 125, your net will be approximately 125 to 145,000.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, that's super simplified, right?
Yeah, and I think he probably wants simple. People want simple.
Well,
you know?
this guy does. Yeah, he can't yeah, I've discovered.
I think the easier you make it for him, the better.
Yeah.
And I would just always say approximate, because we can't give definitive.
Approximate, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. That answers my question. Thank you.
I have seen a Keller Williams net sheet. You know what? In Matrix, on the last page of the CMA, I believe is a seller net sheet that's already made up for you. I believe it is, like when you go into Matrix and you do the CMA, one of the very last pages is a template for a seller's net sheet.
What do you mean by the matrix? Command?
Your MLS system.
Oh.
Is that what yours is called?
It's called, ours is called the, yeah, just called MLS. I don't know what you mean.
Eastern New York.
When you get into the CMA, I guess ours here in Syracuse has a net sheet built in, but I would look at the CMA that's created in your personal MLS and see if one of the pages, because it is like a 40-page packet, one of the pages in ours anyways is a net sheet.
Okay. I know I feel like I've seen them all over the place and I just can't remember where.
Or I would just Google seller net sheet and just kind of like, manipulate it, to work for your area.
Yeah.
Make it your own.
All right, thank you. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as I can. This guy's like so all over the board.
Yeah.
I would always, just to throw something else in the bucket for you, Elizabeth, is I always just say, contact your attorney for fees and your lender for fees so that you have an idea of how much you need to walk away with. But this is what I would, this is the range I would offer to you. That kind of.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't want to be giving attorney fees. That's just out of my lane. That's a really good.
And I like to remind people too that they will be getting any escrow taxes back. So that's like a plus. So any money that they have escrowed, the bank holds. So once the bank's paid off, they will be getting that check as well. So depending on what time of year they're closing, they will get a check,
Great point. Great point.
And that's an extra that people maybe aren't thinking about. So.
Tabitha, I do have a question. I guess this is for everyone. So I have a client that just had an offer accepted, a buyer, an accepted offer on a multifamily out in Richmondville. And we just found out that the current tenant is Section 8. She's lived there for 3 years and she has never been late on rent or anything. This is from, and also that the other agent knows this person. So he's telling me, I know her personally, I know her parents, because he's from the area. But my client is so sketched out by the idea of Section 8. How would you handle that?
Okay,
He's
so
25 and a little bit. He's a little bit.
Yeah.
I can tell you. Here's the thing about Section 8. Now in New York, we have a new law on the fair housing rules that you cannot discriminate against any form of income. And that is considered a form of income for them. So you're not really allowed to speak to that really, because it's now on the federal on the state fair housing rules. So they can't discriminate against that. So if he's going to become a landlord, that's not something he can discriminate against.
That's good because I have to tell him that. He's also this client that he didn't want to look at houses in Troy, New York, because he has this idea of what that is supposed to be. But within his budget, I was like, here's the thing with your cash flow versus what you're and what you want to spend. This is your best option. Plus the amount of rent for the income, or it makes sense. And he has these preconceived notions on what things mean. I guess my question,
those, but you just can't validate those,
Right, and I don't. Mostly because I'm in my head thinking this is ignorance.
Right.
So I do tell him to do his due diligence and look it up and see how it does affect him.
Yeah.
But if he is to be a landlord, thank you, Julie. I forgot.
How would you word that to him in a manner where he's not going to get angry after you kind of tell him that?
I think that I'm just going to be, it also depends on the personality type. So his personality type, he likes numbers and he likes to know, but he also, he did get butthurt once because I told him that he needed to find a way to, some things needed to be, he needed to be able to come to a middle ground. And he didn't like that. And then when I spoke to him in person, I was like, I wasn't trying to upset you. I was just saying there are some things that need to give and some things that you need to take. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I was like, you don't have to apologize to me. I think but it's I think in this exact example, now that I have that idea, thank you again, Julie, is just saying, here's the thing. You are looking to become an investment, or this is an investment property to you. You are going to be a landlord. So going forward, even if you choose not to continue with this tenant, I will say to you that if you were to have other tenants come in that were Section 8, you cannot discriminate based on that.
Okay.
Because of these laws. And if you were to, you can get in trouble with legalities. But luckily, I've already given you a good lawyer if that's something you choose to do.
Thank you.
Also, like Tabitha said earlier, is always set your clients up for these things. So in the beginning, you have to have your agency disclosure signed, but you also have to have your fair housing disclosure signed. So with the fair housing disclosure, I send the fair housing notice, which is in our command center, and send that to them so that they have it. And when they sign, you say, listen, I even have them initial that, just FYI. And just because that way you are clean and your liability is non-existent, because you let them know that is not allowed. So if they practice that, they practice that knowing.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we can, Chris, are you here still?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I think the final is just kind of like breaking out and doing some more the script practice and contract practice. So
All right.
break into that. Maybe do that for, I know it's just 30 minutes, 15 minutes or something, and then we can do some ahas and call it a day.
All right. I'm recreating rooms. Making.
It is kind of, it is kind of fun. It's a little unnerving sometimes, but I had a script practice partner, and he would just call me random times of the day. And I would always say, I'd be like, hello, and I decided to have a question. And he'd be like, looking at your house at 123 Main Street, is that sold? And he would just kind of catch me off guard, and we would do a couple of quick scripts. And it is kind of nice to have a person that you can do that with, and we're, kind of get hard on each other. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I'd absolutely love to show it to you. Are you working with an agent yet? And because people aren't always, they're like, I don't want to work with an agent. I just want to see this house. Can you show it to me right now? You know what I mean? And just kind of, because those are the real life experiences that we are running into, right? People say, have you gotten a chance to get pre-approved? And then people say, well, I don't need to get pre-approved. I already know I'm good. I just want to look at the house and, kind of get into those real life situations. Because I think those are the ones that we're running into more than the, black and white, when do you want to sell your house? We sell the next 60 days. Usually the conversations don't go that way. So I would be candid with your partner and, kind of throw them some curveballs, because I think that's what people are throwing to us.
Yep. Yeah. The ability to overcome objections is good, to shift and pivot. I know somebody had mentioned one about having storage units and or doing, temporary or rent, whatever. The objection would that be, well, I don't want to move twice. So how do you shift and pivot from that, right? And being able to overcome those.
Right. I'm not moving twice.
I'm not moving twice. I don't want to do that. Now, I've actually had that objection in real life, and you have to figure out how to overcome that, right?
Help you move, but I'll probably damage half of your stuff. So I would recommend hiring a professional.
Yeah, no, I mean, but there's just, think of some fun over objections and have fun with them. I mean, no, my dog's sick. Like, I don't know. I say, I'm only saying it because you will come across some real life objections that may stumble you a little bit. And so just being able to be able to overcome them, have fun with them. And if you do stumble, have your partner try to help them out, right? If the partner that you're working with gives you the objection, they may already have an idea in their head on how you could overcome it. So help each other out. I'm going to break y'all off into a room right now.
Can I offer something before you do that?
Sure.
I just wanted, because I had a friend of mine that posted today that she was going to meet a listing. She was going to a listing appointment this morning with a single male, and she was nervous about it. So I just wanted to throw out there that I would highly recommend that whether it be a buyer or a seller, you never meet at the house first. You always meet at your office and talk there, get a copy of their license. That way, and always let people know where you're going to be. Like if you're going to a listing appointment, let people know, someone know, I'll text you when I go in, I'll text you when I come out, so that you're always in a protected status.
There is, I believe it's either in Ignite or Elementals that does speak to safety, and we'll go over that. But Julie, thank you for bringing that up, because certainly we want to make sure your safety is first and foremost, right? Like that's always a concern. If you are ever going to feel like it could be an uncomfortable situation, find your outs, find your ways to go out, kind of like what Julie is speaking to, have it at the office, have it, in a place that's public. Where I was selling, there was always, there was always potential for safety concerns and issues. And I've seen some crazy stuff. So just make sure that whatever y'all are doing, it's safe. You feel safe and you feel comfortable. We never want to have you guys in an awkward and uncomfortable position or situation. So, all right. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Tabitha, we had a guy in one of the communities where I was selling arrested. He was breaking into model homes throughout the community that were staged
Okay.
and stealing all of their stuff. But dude, this guy was loco. He was crazy.
Selling it or putting it in his own house?
So the way they ended up finding out is that the way they ended up catching this guy. And dude, the guy was crazy because he would come into the model homes and he would be, oh, I'm just looking at, decor, or like he would be looking, to get remodeling ideas because he lived in the community. What he was doing was scoping everything out, and they caught him. They ended up catching him. When they went into his house, they found all the stuff that was stolen.
Fully furnished, nice, right?
It was all model home stuff. But the guy was crazy. Straight up loco. I've had some pretty crazy. I had a guy show up at my thank God it was me. And I say thank God it's me. I can handle myself, but it's not like the boast or whatever. But this guy literally, Tabitha, I have no joke. It was one of those things, the hours didn't get set for the time change in this community. I went outside to put a backpack in my car because it was still somewhat daylight, but it got dark. So when I was going back into the house, this guy pulled into my driveway. It's odd, it's dark.
Right.
He was hammered. Straight up.
And this is your own personal house?
No, this was
Oh,
in a model home in one of the communities that I was working in. Straight up hammered. Straight up. Got out of the car, reeked. He actually had like whatever stains all over his shirt. And I ended up, it was like, you guys open? And I was like, oh, crap. And so then I thought to myself, I think it was a split-second decision where I was like, I could say no. And then he's going to get in his car and drive through this neighborhood absolutely hammered. Right. And I know that there's kids on their bikes going around in this community. This community was straight up your ideal kid. There was 2 schools within the community.
Okay, right.
So I was like, no, come on in, man. And so I got him in, got him some coffee, and just started handing him bottles of water. And it's like, hey, tell me why you out looking for houses tonight. Dude, we probably sat there for 2.5 hours. But I just kept thinking, had that been like a female agent, that
right, scary.
No way. Like, yeah. So anyway.
I'm loving that we don't do open houses now, but
right.
Eventually we're gonna have to get back to it. But I hate open houses so much. Especially like because I do out in like Oswego, Mexico, like out in the country. It could be an hour and then nobody comes and somebody, you know what I mean? It's weird.
Yes. Yep.
Whereas like in the the other area, like the busier places, there's a lot of other activity. But sometimes when I do them out in the middle of nowhere, there's nobody there. My phone barely works. There's one person there.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. I've been in a couple of communities to where, brand new, and they're out in I say out in the country, but essentially out in the country where it's literally just nothing but dirt. It's dirt. I've actually sat in, construction trailers. I jokingly say I'm going to sell dirt today because that's what you do. There's no house, there's no nothing. There's just lots. I'm going to sell dirt today. All right. Like, take a buyer out and you're like, hey, look, that's what your house is going to be. And it's dirt. You want to buy it?
Take it.
Take it. Buy some dirt.
Just a heads up, I didn't have anybody in my breakout room, so I came back to hang out with you guys.
All right, we can move you in. I'm gonna have you, looks like somebody's in a room by themselves. Let me see if I can.
I've done a lot of script practice, but
All
if
right.
somebody is alone, I'll go in and script with them.
Awesome, man.
I probably have 75 to 100 transactions and closed at this point, so.
Good for you, man. Wow. And you're here hanging out at Ignite. We love that. I mean, that's awesome.
They want me to be a launch partner. It's like the mentorship program they're doing at the Capital District.
Yeah.
So since I'm newer to KW, I came from Coldwell. They want me to learn the, learn the company lines.
Yeah.
No one was in my room.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just about to put you and Josh together. It's funny.
Oh my gosh, Josh, 2 days in a row.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, man, this time I'll actually
This is
help out a little bit too.
This is Kristen. Can you put me into Sabine's room?
Yes.
Because I'm logging off on my phone. I had to go out to show a house, so I'm just back.
All right. It says you're in her room. That's weird.
I am on my phone, but not on my desktop. I was just let in on the desktop. So I'll log out on the phone.
There you go.
I don't know if I messed it up again, Chris. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to get you all into a room, working on it. I'll have you all go into room 2. Did you get the invite into that room, Candace?
Good. How are you?
All right, everybody. Hopefully you got some practice in with role playing. Did anybody have any final ahas that they wanted to talk about before we get back to the day? Anything that worked, didn't work? No. Everybody's over it. Okay. If anybody has any questions, you could go over that too, but I'm sure usually everybody has a question or nobody has a question. So I like this. There's always that one person that has questions, but nobody has any questions.
Tabitha, I do love what, one little suggestion you made that I wrote down. I said, oh, I got to incorporate this. And that was to have all your collection of, like a big collection of notes ready to roll in one place and in your car. That way you're not like, where are they? I got to go find them. I got to order them. Just try to keep them ready to roll. So I'm going to incorporate that.
And it actually, so now that you said that, that reminds me, I always have like a listing contract with me printed out. I always have a lockbox with me, you know, handy in your car. Because if something happens or you do, you know, run into somebody and they want the house listed, it's good to be as prepared as possible. So obviously it's ideal to have time to prepare. But if somebody says, hey, listen, like I want to get my house on the market today, can you come over? Just to have, you know, a listing contract, you know, in your vehicle, a lockbox in your vehicle so that you are prepared and ready to go. I think that that's super important. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen where, you know, you run in, a buyer wants to write an offer, they got to get their house in the market. You say, hey, I've got all the paperwork with me. We could come to your house right now and we can get it listed. And just to have that with you, I think is nice, because that does happen once in a while. Or, you know, a buyer contract too. I run into every once in a while where somebody doesn't like computers or they can't sign electronically or they want to write it in person. And just to have, you know, I would always say at least one listing contract with you and one buyer contract with you always. Especially when we get back to open houses too. Like if a buyer comes in and they want to write an offer on your listing or your, you know, your listing or whatever, you know, you have that with them. You know, you don't want to write it at the open house, but you can say, hey, the open house ends at 2. I can meet you, you know, at Dunkin' Donuts or my office or somewhere in about a half hour and we can write it up. Just to have it with you, I think is important. So, because you should probably already have copies of at least, you know, the buyer forms to fill out, you know, agency, and also the New York State disclosure form to give them anyways. So if you've got an extra contract with you, I think it does nothing but help you. So anybody else have a question or something they wanted to add?
Josh made a really good point on how, like, with marketing and social media, like he had asked me if I had posted about, because I just had a close on Friday and one on Monday. And he asked me if I posted about it. And I just on, I think on Tuesday, yesterday, posted about my Friday close. He's like, what I do is I'll post under contract and then I'll post when it's sold. So look like it is more consistent on that. Look, I'm doing business.
Right, right.
And I think that feeds into the, when you were speaking earlier on, just don't be too busy for your clients, but also look like you're busy so that you don't seem like you're not doing any business.
Right, because there is that thin line, right? You want people to know you're busy, but you don't want to be annoying, but you want to be available, but not so available that they're wondering, you know, why you have no appointments. So
exactly. But I also had a moment where that same client that is sketchy about Section 8, he there was one day I was like, I'm sorry, I was so busy. And he goes, if you're too busy for me. I'm like, no, it's not that I'm too busy for you. So you literally call me every time I'm in the middle of something.
Right.
And then
not there, but I'll always make time. Right.
Yeah. So that was, I think he's just really nervous because he's 25 and it's his first purchase. So I keep having, like the other day, he was asking me a billion questions. It's like, let's get through attorney approval first. I was like, it's okay. We just are going to take it one step at a time. And he was like, he's like, yeah, you're right.
That would benefit from a checklist. Do you know what I mean? So he can like see it in front of him. He knows what the next step is. He can check it off. You know what I mean? And he just knows.
Oh, he has that.
Oh, okay.
He just is.
He's got that. He's just, yeah.
It's been a few months of us looking. And so we finally found something. And now I think he's had so much time to think.
Yeah.
He's in his head. So it's just reminding him to breathe.
Family and people at work and everybody's an expert, right? So
I'm like, listen to me. Don't listen to anyone else. They're dumb.
You know what? The real estate market is forever changing. You know, it's a full-time job for me to keep up with all the rules and regulations in the market. I said, you know, if your friends or family or people at work haven't bought or sold in the last couple of months, they probably don't have all the information as readily available as I do. Not that they're dumb or they don't know, but just say, you know what, things have changed.
I'm not going to say they're dumb. I promise.
You know, I'd really, if you have any questions, I would just, reach out to me or your attorney.
Sure.
Because we are the expert. We just have to keep reminding people, you know.
This is my area of expertise.
Anybody else? I appreciate everybody getting on today and everybody staying till the end. I don't recognize anybody. I don't think you're from the Syracuse Market Center, but if you ever have a question pertaining to real estate in general, you can always reach out to me. I think we always need somebody to call. If, you know, you have an issue on a weekend or something, there's a question that you have. I'm always available. You can find me on Facebook, or I can put my phone number in the chat, but I'm always available for everybody. I think we all have to be new at some point. And there's days that I feel new, you know, and I think anybody can agree. It doesn't matter if you've been in the business 1 year or 20 years, there's always something that comes up that we just don't know, or we think we know, but we want to make sure we know and just kind of shoot it off somebody. And I'm always learning. So I would love if anybody had a question to reach out, because we're always kind of learning from each other. So. All right.
Thank you so much, Tabitha.
Welcome. I'm gonna.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.